guess by where we're starting from. This is the position you need to make your way into for our flexibility exercises. If you have difficulty getting onto the floor, you can position your laptop and be on your bed, but we definitely need you in this supine position. You can put something small under your head if you need to. So we're going to start. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to move to a different part of the house. Otherwise, we will get started. Hands are by your side. I want you to work on getting the back of your head and the back of your shoulders onto the floor. Roll those hips back and then back to a neutral position. So it's a pelvic tilt. We've done these before, but in case you're new to us this month, you want to think about taking that arch in your spine and flattening it onto the floor. So from the video screen, it may not look like a ton is happening, but my hips are rolling back. The lower part of my back is pressing into my mat and then coming back to a neutral spine. And we'll spend another 30 seconds or so doing these pelvic tilts. None of this should cause pain. You can modify the range of motion and go a little farther or hold back a little bit if you're experiencing any kind of pain. Okay, next thing I'm going to have you do is straighten out your left leg. You're going to put your right foot next to your left knee and then let that right knee drop towards the floor. What I don't want to see happen is a rotation in your low back. So pin those hips to the floor and just let the knee fall out to the side. And if you can't get all the way to the floor, that's perfectly fine. We're going to hold that for 30 seconds. I'll let my watch run here so I get at least a rough estimate of 30 seconds. All right, bring that right knee back up, straighten out the right leg, left foot goes next to your right knee, and drop to the side. This is called a figure 4 stretch because you look like you're in the shape of a figure 4, or the number 4. Remember to keep those hips flat on the mat. And just hold it. These are longer stretches. It gives you a chance to sink a little deeper into each stretch. Come on back to the middle. We're going to do that one more time on each side. Straighten out the left leg, drop the right knee to the side, and just hold. You should be able to comfortably breathe. Shouldn't be in any pain. And back to the middle. Right leg out, left leg down, drop to the side. Sink a little deeper than you did the first time through. And back to the middle. All right, next stretch. Straighten out your left leg. You're going to hold on to your right knee and pull that right knee up towards your left shoulder. you should feel a stretch down the outside of the thigh and into that hip muscle. So it's a little bit across the front of your body and then up towards your left shoulder. Again, we'll just hold that. And now let's do the other side. Take that left knee, pull across your body, and then up towards your right shoulder. You should feel that in the outside of your hip. Let's do that one more time on each side. So, left knee goes across your body, and then up, or I'm sorry, right knee across your body, and then up towards your left shoulder. And switch to the other side. Good. All right, make your way onto your right side. And you can have your elbow folded in your hand, or your head in your hand, or lie down flat. It doesn't matter. You're going to bend the right leg. That's going to be your stabilizing leg. The left leg is going to be out straight. Now, the other thing that needs to happen is your hips need to be stacked one on top of each other. So you don't want to be rolled back or rolled forward. So make sure your hips are one on top of the other. You're going to bring the left leg up. You're going to bring it straight back without letting those hips rotate. And then stretch it down towards the floor. And that should send a stretch right down the side of your hip and leg. And remember, you don't want those hips to rotate backwards. That's the hardest part of this stretch, is keeping the hips stacked on top of one another. All right, come on back to the starting position. Let's try it again. So bottom leg is tucked. That's your stabilizing leg. Straighten out the top leg. Hips are right on top of one another. There's no rotating back and forth. Bring that top leg up. Send it back without moving the hip. And then drop it down towards the floor. And if you've kept your hips nice and stable, you should feel a good stretch right on the outside of that top hip. And if you're really tight, you'll get a stretch right up into the side of your low back too. Hold for another 10 seconds. Good. All right, you can roll over. I'm going to flip around this way so we can do the other side. So down on my side, bottom leg is bent, top leg is straight. We're going to lift up, keep the hips stacked on top of one another, bring the leg back, and lower it down. And just hold that. Let's start over, do it one more time, see if we can go a little farther. Straighten out the top leg. Make sure your hips stay on top of one another. Lift up, reach back, and then let that leg drop behind you. And you may not get all the way to the floor. If this is really tight, your toe may not touch the floor at all, like mine. All right, guys, roll onto your stomach. And for this one, we're going to rest our heads down flat so you can fold your arms, rest your head. Bring your knees as close together as you can get them. So you don't want them spread out. You want everything in a nice straight line. And I'm going to have you take one heel and bend it back towards your butt. Go as far as you can. As you do this, I want you to try and keep the hips pinned on the floor. So as you bring your heel back, don't let your hips rotate to the side. Bring it back as far as you can, and down. Then we'll do the other side. Keep alternating side to side, but don't rush through it. Go as far as you can. Get your heel as close to your butt as you can. Keep those hips flat on the ground. All right, next stretch. Bring those heels together. Push the front of your hips down into the mat, and then let the heels rotate away. I am leaving my knees bent for this one. Bring them back and rotate out. I'm going to switch angles a little bit. This one, it might be hard to see. So my hips are flat on the mat, heels are touching, and then I'm going to rotate them apart and back together. Let's do 3 more. Good. All right, guys, make your way up into sitting on your mat. We have one last stretch to get through. Okay. So I'm going to have you sit with one leg out to your side, the other foot tucked in. We're going to hinge forward as far as you can. Now, you can put your hands on the floor and kind of walk them forward. If you can get down to your forearms, great. That's about as far as I can get. Some of you may be able to get even flatter, but that's about it for me. And we'll hold that for 30 seconds. A nice long stretch. Should get more and more flexible as you practice this. Okay, let's stick the other leg out. Bring the other foot in and walk yourself forward. Get as low as you can. Ten more seconds.